You might be wondering whether a big-time pay-per-view fight has ever been priced lower than the age of its youngest headliner. Well, that's going to change on Saturday night, because when 54-year-old Mike Tyson returns to the ring on Saturday against 51-year-old Roy Jones Jr., nostalgia and curiosity will cost lower than both of their ages at $50. Or for a lot of people, free $99 as they try to find an illegal stream. What started in May as a viral clip of a six-punch combination from Tyson has now turned into a November pay-per-view spectacle, with Triller paying north of $50 million for the right to stream a pair of 50-year-olds headlining a fight. An exhibition fight, I might add, because according to a set of rules agreed to by both Mike and Roy, their 8-round fight will instead have 2-minute rounds with bigger 12-ounce gloves than the 10-ounce gloves heavyweights normally wear, and the California State Athletic Commission will not have official ringside judges to help determine a winner. This fight will also stop if there's a cut, and to ease some of the worry and discomfort me and I'm sure plenty of you other people also have with a pair of 50-year-olds refusing to wear headgear, the Athletic Commission has implemented a no-knockout rule in the spirit of making this pretty much a glorified sparring session. And now you have people saying, well, how are you going to tell Iron Mike Tyson that there are no knockouts when all he knows is one mode? To which I agree with you. Taking it easy is not in his DNA. But these are the rules, man, and in the event of a knockdown, don't expect a 10 count either, because the referee has been instructed to let each fighter take as much time as they need to ensure they're both safe to continue if they're knocked down. And as we know, the head is not meant to be hit, let alone repeatedly, and let alone when you're in your 50s. And the phrase in this sport is, you don't play boxing. But while I am a little bit uneasy about this matchup, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I can't deny that I have this underlying intrigue to see two fighters who helped me become a fan of the sport back in 2002 as a kid. I mean, my first memory of a super fight was that year in 2002 when Tyson faced Lennox Lewis, and Roy Jones Jr. became my favorite fighter. Two absolute legends, to see them going at it. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't wanting to watch it. Imagine, though, if Roy would have retired at 49-1 after his 50th fight like Floyd. I mean, the dude was 49-1 with his only loss being a DQ that he actually avenged immediately. And as a 4-division champion from middleweight all the way up to heavyweight, dude really did have a strong case for being the most dominant pound-for-pound fighter ever. And as for Tyson, the dude is way more than a fighter. He's a pop culture icon, which is why, to me, paying to see Tyson fight in 2020 is kind of like paying to see Motley Crue play in concert today. You know it's not going to be like it was as good as it was 30 years ago, but it still scratches that nostalgic itch, and as fans, it's still intriguing enough to pay money to watch them sing along and dance. So I'm sure very curious about this, and I want to see what kind of shape these guys are in, and I'm very happy to see them both working out a lot and in good condition. So Tyson, again, seems as happy as he's ever been, which is amazing because his career has definitely been measured by his peaks and valleys. Coming up in a rough upbringing in Brooklyn, the dude became the baddest, most feared fighter ever after his quick rise to the top as the heavyweight division's youngest champion ever. But then raveled as financial mismanagement, legal issues, and outbursts held him back, and ultimately he screwed over, damaged, and hurt a lot of people, including himself. But it's been the second act as a human being and an entrepreneur that has been a remarkable inspiration for many. And if getting back in the ring for an exhibition fight is good for his mental health, man, I'm here to support it. I just don't know how far I'm willing to take it beyond this one exhibition match. I mean, sure, George Foreman becoming unified champion at 45 is an example that power is the last thing to leave a heavyweight, but let's pump the brakes on this version of Tyson. I mean, he's 54 years old, and if we're being honest, 30 years removed from his prime. And 15 years removed from his last professional fight, which was a TKO loss to a journeyman where Tyson quit on his stool. And nothing from those viral training clips or from this fight against Roy Jones Jr. can prove to me that he can get back in there with today's contending heavyweights in their prime. Plus, I'd rather not find out what Tyson looks like against heavyweights that have life-altering power with one punch. What made Tyson a monster in his prime was the combination of his freakish power and his quickness. And while he'll still have power there at 54, his evasive defense is definitely not there anymore. Stamina was already an issue for Tyson in his prime, so you already know it'd be a lot worse at 54 years old. Will he win in almost every bar fight? Yeah, no doubt. But a championship fight against prime heavyweight contenders? Dude, come on. Stop. Do you remember when Bernard Hopkins at 51 ended his 2-year hiatus by getting knocked out through the ropes against a 27-year-old contender? It'd be even worse for Mike Tyson, who would have nothing more than a puncher's chance that would continuously fade away by the second. Now, Tyson will have a significant power advantage against Roy Jones Jr. on Saturday, but since Mike's last fight in 2005, Roy's fought like 23 times, with his most recent fight being 33 months ago. But then again, a 33-month hiatus isn't much to write home about either, and which is why, to me, I see no use in picking a winner. Partly because in an exhibition there are no winners, but mainly because by the end of the night, I'm not sure if anyone's going to really feel like a winner. Triller will have certainly lost millions of dollars once they realize how many young people illegally stream this event. And it's why I think the only winner is probably going to be Father Time. Because as we know, Father Time is undefeated. But I guess nostalgia is too. And I know this because I spent this entire week watching highlights of Prime Tyson and Prime Roy displaying their freakish athleticism as if it meant anything for this fight. And when I was done, all I realized was just how far removed both those guys are from having the quickness and the swift reaction time that made them both box office attractions in the first place. So just be aware what you're getting into with this pay-per-view event on Saturday. If you're buying this expecting an actual fight and good boxing, I feel bad for you and your $50 because you're better off saving money for next week's Spence Garcia pay-per-view on Fox, or a 1-month DAZN subscription to see Anthony Joshua, Triple G, Canelo, and Ryan Garcia in December and January. But if you're like me, going into this thing with absolutely zero expectations and still enough curiosity to watch an old and washed up cultural icon in Mike Tyson get back to what he used to do, then have at it and order this thing, because just as it was with the Mayweather-McGregor circus, nobody's forcing you to watch. And like it or not, sideshows like this happen only because there's enough public interest and enough money on the table for the fighters to begin with. So in this case, it's the Tyson-Jones heavyweight title fight that we almost had in 2003, only 17 years later. Foolish? Yeah, probably. Dangerous? Possibly. Will I still watch? Definitely.